I think we're live. Are we live? Yes, we are. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new stream. We are back with another Christie Town Hall. But not only Christie, but Adam Kinzinger, or Kissing Ass. I call him Kissing Ass because that's who he really is. We are back to react to a dual town hall with Kinzinger hosting and Christie involved. Oh dear lord. I called this months ago that Kinzinger and Christie should do a town hall, and well, they are. Now, before we continue with today's stream, I hope you enjoy these type of streams. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you could join Real American. This is the best way to help support the content and, well, make me get through this pain and suffering. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. And like usual, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, the best way to get them answered is through super chats in chat. Again, all the support's greatly appreciated. Of course, if you have a question in chat, I'll try to get through it, but we may be at negative IQ points after this stream, and we already got a couple super chats. That Ploco guy for 5. Another millisecond, hold on. Another millisecond, another Christie Town Hall. On top of Kissing Ass. That's just, that's like a double whammy. Real Texan Politics for 5. 2 Biden 2024 voters masquerading as Republicans for pity points and money from the left. Yeah, I agree. Ben Cynics for 5. We may need to rent out a Jumbotron to fit the cringe counter. The numbers will balloon like Christie's weight. So, yeah, we have 2 different cringe counters. I don't know how this is gonna go. Probably not good, if we're being honest with ourselves. So, and before I forget, I recommend everybody has a beverage because I certainly have one myself. This is gonna be a long one. Who decided this? I made a meme about this a month ago or whatever, and they're actually doing it. I might check out of this stream because of how cringe this stream. Oh, that's fine. Where's the big/small counter? There's not enough room. There's not enough room. Yep, this will be painful. No, I just got a soda. I don't got beer. Don't worry. Drink responsibly, but I'm not drinking. I'm drinking dip 7-Up or whatever. Probably talking about Orange Man bad for however long. Yeah, I mean, why? Why are they doing this? Who decided, people want to watch Christie? Can I submit this as evidence of a crime against humanity? Yes. I just... There's not gonna be a big... Oh, hold on. Should I get a big counter? Big/small? Fine. Frickin' you people. Oh, gosh. Big/small. Big/small counter. You... This is gonna be absolutely awful. I don't know who decided this. Like, it's being hosted by Christie's freaking pack, I guess, or whatever. Alright, 0. I wonder how long that's gonna last. Okay. Right there. And you know what? These 2 idiots don't deserve this. They don't deserve the thumbnail, no. They get the freaking dumpster fire. Screw them. We're using the freaking dumpster. I don't care. Oh, jeez. Why is this happening? Rap loves these streams. Yeah, well, listen. You guys enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep going through it, but you better support the channel. Oh, gosh. And the stream is starting in 4 minutes, the town hall, so that's why we have the dumpster fire up. Frickin' losers. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm gonna put over Christie's one. That's a good idea. There you go. There. Christie deserves the thumbnail, but the other guy doesn't. Screw them both. Imagine Christie win Gillicrest Town Hall. At least, you know, Gillicrest is liberal. Kinzinger's is insufferable. Okay. We got a Kinzinger counter on the left. This is definitely going to be a... Are we going to reach 1 billion cringe? I think our record, wasn't like 500 million or whatever? Oh, jeez. This is about to make Jeb Bush look charismatic in comparison. Oh, God. This better not be a history lesson by Christie. No! Oh, jeez. Why? I still want to know who asked for this. Hold on. Just gotta move these guys up. There. Infinite cringe. Yeah, the combined cringe is definitely gonna be like 1 billion, I think. Oh, jeez. Yeah, can you tell I'm already suffering and we haven't even started? This better not last for like 4 hours. And I swear, if he starts with a freaking history lesson again. Kinzinger's the worst Illinois politician. Yeah, I agree. I don't talk about the past. Talks about the American Revolution. Oh, man. Why? Okay, so that's the stream right there. We're still a couple minutes away from that. So again, you guys better support the channel. Better support me suffering. And before I forget, yes, I saw that poll out of New Hampshire. DeSantis is officially in 4th place, according to Eklund Insights. So, there has been no number created that will match the cringe of this town hall. I mean, we're gonna, like, multiply it or something. During the American Revolution, I was small. Put that stream thumbnail. Yeah, look at this thumbnail. Look at this. I'm not even manipulating it. That's what it looks like. And I can't show all of it for copyright reasons. Look at this. Look at this thumbnail. Who made this? This was like MS Paint. Again, I had to change the screen size, but I didn't manipulate it. I just, you know, changed how far it goes out. Like that. But, okay. Yeah, 70. I mean, Microsoft Office. Real text and politics for 5. If we add one more counter, should it be a January 6th counter? Every time January 6th is brought up. Or a Trump counter. Every time Trump is brought up. Oh, dear Lord. I gotta add it now. I gotta add the frickin'... Oh, gosh. Oh, my... Trump counter. We are up to, like, Trump counter. How many counters are we gonna have by the end of the night? And by the way, funny enough, the pack is called Country First. Is that a bit ironic? Coming from Kinzinger? Kinzinger? However you want to say his last name? Trump counter. There we go. Oh, we saw movement. Should be a Trump counter or January 6th? I think Trump. That's we brought up a lot more. For whatever reason, these people love Trump. AK despise him. Alright. Sean Hannity versus Elon Omar election map. At the end of the night, we may see it. That's how bad this is going to get, I think. Yeah, it's country first, but he calls America first racist. What does that tell you? Or whatever. Trump counter. Just start it already. Please. Alright. Again, this is the thumbnail. This isn't... I didn't make this. Oh, what? Oh, no. I'm turning that music off. You can't hear it. What? So yeah, this is some shitty music they're playing. I can't play it for copyright. But yeah, look at this thumbnail. They actually have an HD version. Is this freaking 2006? Democracy. True. Yeah, I can't listen to music with you guys. Oh, jeez. This is painful. This is absolutely painful already. Why did I say I would watch these things? Hey, Rab, how long do you think this shit show will be? It's, knowing my luck, it's gonna be freaking like 4 hours long. Christie's getting McDonald's. God level cringe. I'm telling you, the heavens are cringing right now. Oh, man. I hope there's a bunch of hecklers there. Isn't it a virtual event? Or how are they doing this? It can't be a virtual event, right? But where is it then? Where is it being held? Why are we here? Christie caught up at the buffet again. Bro, what the?
Hi everyone, my name's Andrew Regalado and I'm the National Grassroots Director here at Country First. On behalf of everyone working behind the scenes, I'd like to thank you for coming.
Well, I gotta turn this audio.
For truth. We're honored you've taken some time to join us this evening.
Who the
to
hell
reflect on
is
the importance
this?
of truth on our elections, but to also
is this a Zoom
directly
call
from some people who have demonstrated a commitment to telling uncomfortable truths, even when the cost is so high. Here at Country First, we welcome all reasonable people of goodwill, from all parties and of none. We're creating a home for the reasonable majority, but it's important to note that the reasonable majority isn't always going to agree on every policy position or fit into one political party. Instead,
I'm muting this guy. Super Chad. Real text and politics for two. Who does Kinzinger vote for? Biden or no labels? No labels.
Presidential candidate Governor Christie to talk about the state of the GOP primary, Republican Party, and American politics within our very own Adam Kinzinger, who distinguished himself through his service in our armed forces, Congress, and the January 6th House Select Committee.
Oh God, they're mentioning that already?
Now, this program tonight is projected to reach over 50,000 viewers, and those of you watching live have an opportunity to ask a question in the chat or tweet us using the live hashtag #TruthOnStage.
Should I ask him a question?
We have limited time, but we'll get to as many questions as possible. So please share where you're tuning in from in the chat and tweet us a question so that we can bring it up for tonight's guests. And tonight's program comes on the cusp of the first GOP presidential primary debate, which will be broadcasted nationally in just 2 days. Thousands of Country First members contributed to ensure our next guest will be on stage. And we'll have a bit of a preview tonight of what we may hear from him at the debate. And if history is any indication, we already have an idea of what we're unlikely to hear from the other candidates. Let's take a look.
46 presidents have sworn
to
preserve, protect, and defend our Constitution.
Bro, what?
But the 45th, he strayed from that path.
They already mentioned Trump. January 6th,
After that sad January day, we came together and formed the Country First movement. Our message,
you guys suck.
The truth matters, always has, always will.
Oh, truth.
And with the presidential race heating up, you think the GOP field would be standing up against the crimes of the frontrunner, Donald Trump. But instead, we're seeing something different. Some are even saying they'll pardon him.
Yes.
I don't think it would be good for the country to have an almost 80-year-old former president go to prison.
I don't hold the former president who didn't show up at the Capitol and threaten my life as responsible.
But, when you look at a pardon, the issue is less about guilt and more about...
I'm muting because I don't want to get copyrighted. Because God knows what's going to happen if I do. I'm muting this for a second. You're not missing anything. You're missing absolutely nothing. Trump. Again, I'm muting this because I don't want to get sued. It's music. It's copyrighted music, I think. Oh, God. Oh, jeez.
Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Christie.
Boo!
Well, good evening, everybody out there in Country First Land. I thank you for inviting me on tonight and giving me the opportunity to speak to all of you about the issues that we just laid out in the video that preceded me, but also to talk about all the other issues that concern us as a country. And I thank Congressman Kinzinger for the invitation to be here tonight as well. Look, I'm running for president because the truth matters.
Oh my God.
It's not negotiable.
Oh my God.
The truth is not something that we get to pick and choose based upon what our own political leanings or party registration might be. The truth is the truth.
This is a
and the American people have to start hearing the truth directly from people who aspire to leadership here.
Oh.
And when I look at my own party, one of the biggest reasons I got into this race is because no one was telling the truth about Donald Trump. What was going on was excuse making and rationalizing, and in some instances just flat out lying about what happened in the 2020 election. The facts are pretty simple. Does he have notes? Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the 2020 election.
Good Lord.
In fact, he defeated Donald Trump as decisively as Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton just 4 years earlier. And from the minute that election night happened, I began urging the former president to tell the truth, concede the race, and to allow the peaceful transfer of power to happen without any drama and certainly without any violence. We all know what happened.
Yeah, he's read off his laptop.
And that's resulted in all the cases that we now see filed against the former president. I want everyone to think about this.
Trump cringe. Hold
when
on.
The Republican candidates for president get on the stage this Wednesday, August 23rd, the front runner who has decided not to be there will be out on bail in 4 different jurisdictions: New York, Miami, Washington, and Atlanta. We can no longer pretend that this is normal. We can't pretend that this is acceptable. And all of us as Americans need to think, is this the example we want to set for our children?
Yes.
And for our grandchildren? I say it's not. And I say that telling the truth is what matters the most in this race. And that's what I intend to do from the minute I got into the race until whenever it ends. And if you look at the way things are going right now, I really think that this message is getting through to folks.
You're at 3%.
A new poll that came out today in the state of New Hampshire, which now shows me clearly in second place, in double digits at 14%, and now only 20 points behind Donald Trump. We are in striking distance, everybody.
Bro.
2.5 months into this campaign.
You literally got
on Wednesday night, we intend to do the same thing. Listen to the questions, answer them directly and honestly. And if someone were to say something on stage that we think is wrong, untruthful, or just bad for our country, to be able to engage in that debate directly and clearly to lay out what I believe is the right direction for our country to move in.
Only 20.
And so I thank you all for taking the time tonight. I hope we get into a lot of different issues that you're concerned about. I'm going to try to follow the same standard tonight on our town hall meeting that I follow at my town hall meetings around the country.
I'll get to the super chat
and that I intend to follow on the debate stage Wednesday night. Listen clearly to your questions and try to answer them honestly and directly and responsively without stump speeches or canned lines that are provided to me by political consultants. So I want to thank Congressman Kinzinger again for inviting me tonight, and I look forward to working with you, Adam. Have a great night.
Hey, well, Governor, thank you, and everybody, thank you for being on. The governor and I have gotten to be fast friends
Kill
lately,
with fire.
and there's a real kinship, I think, between
my ears,
what we've been through and the threat we see, and the fact that we know that America just needs a dose of truth. I mean, look, how can you expect the front runner to not be Donald Trump when anytime anything happens, everybody else that the base that the party looks up to is told by their leaders that he did nothing wrong and that he's a victim of a witch hunt. And they're surprised that somehow he's in first place in these debates. And so it's so refreshing to have somebody that tells the truth.
Jeez.
And it's so refreshing that you're with us today, Governor. I just wanted to say that. And so it seems to me that the GOP
what just happened to Christie?
Is kind of really a referendum on Donald Trump. And one of the things with Country First is
nobody cares about it.
Some would consider themselves from the left, some from the right, some from the middle. Some probably have no idea what they are anymore. But the one thing we all have in common and we all see eye to eye on is that Donald Trump is a threat to this country.
And they call Trump supporters a cult.
Donald Trump would be a threat. You've decided to stand up and tell the truth, despite all that blowback that's coming your way, despite the price you'd have to pay.
What a shitty
The question I have for you is, have you seen any break in the dam? Is there any particular message that seems to work with persuadable conservatives, persuadable Republicans that you've seen?
Adam, it's a really good question. And I think it's probably a little bit too early to tell. But the fact that in 2.5 months, Adam, I've literally gone from 0 in New Hampshire to 14.
Because you got every anti-Trump voter.
The truth does matter.
That's why.
And that people do want to hear the truth about Donald Trump, but they want to hear the truth about lots of other issues as well that people are not talking about, refusing to talk about in a way that's candid and direct with the voters. I will say that one of the things that I see a lot of nodding heads in my town hall meetings is about the idea that we cannot normalize this conduct for our children and grandchildren.
You're cringe.
That, the title of your group, Country First, is what we should expect from anyone who is privileged enough to be elected president of the United States.
They called America First racist.
Put your country before your own personal interests, because that's the oath
Bro, you can't be serious.
When you promise that you're going to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution.
You cannot
and
be
I will
serious
tell you
right now.
That I have seen from Donald Trump and from Joe Biden too, that they've put their own personal interests ahead of the interests of the country. One of the things Donald Trump, and this gets a lot of applause at town hall meetings in New Hampshire and in South Carolina. So I talk about the fact that Donald Trump promised to drain the swamp, but instead all he did was rearrange it to make room for his own children
to
benefit from it. Like Jared and Ivanka Kushner, who took $2 billion in Saudi money.
That's had nothing to do with Trump.
Kushner and Ivanka were both employed in the White House, and Jared spent days upon weeks over in the Middle East.
All right, I gotta read these super chats. I'm already getting sick of this. This is awful. I lose my brain cells already. Zachary Marionette for 5. Real American, you misunderstood. When they say nation first, they mean the nation of Ukraine first. True. Gustavo G for 2. What would a Christie / Kinzinger map 2024 look like? Blue Tsunami. Real Texan Politics for 5. This is basically just a preview of the 2024 DNZ. When Kinzinger will definitely speak at. And maybe Christie. Yeah. Ben Cynics for 2. I think that's just them nodding off to sleep. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, we're back.
To make millions of dollars himself. If these two men can't run their own families, how do we expect to be able to run the country from the White House? And so I think those arguments as to Donald Trump and as to Joe Biden have resonated with folks. And we're going to continue to make those arguments because it's true. And it's what we would expect from a president to rise above that and make sure that the public is put first. The American people.
Turn your mic up there, guy.
Well, thank you. It's funny. I was remembering a time I was in the Oval Office with the former president. He had mentioned something about, I don't know, he said, next term I'll deal with Social Security and Medicare. And Then he goes on now to say, I'll never touch it. Everybody else wants to touch it. Look, I would love for us never to have to touch Social Security or Medicare, but math is math.
He now says this 8 years or 4 years later.
Pander forever, but eventually you're going to have to make decisions. So, there were thousands of people, Governor, that gave. Some gave just $1. Some gave a little more to get you on this debate stage. And I know that you've done very well getting on there and you'll reach the threshold.
It's 40,000 people who want chaos.
But even with Donald Trump not showing up, which cowardice, by the way, absolute cowardice, and I think you are.
He's at like 60%.
To be honest with you. Because any time that he's not in the spotlight, I think would drive him crazy, but he doesn't want to be in the spotlight with you. But it's going to be a contest among people to see who can defend the former president the most, the best, the hardest, while turning around and maybe attacking somebody else on the stage to try to show their tough bona fides. What do you say? What do you think that says about the state of the party at the moment, or the state of the GOP primary, when so many candidates are just afraid to say that the emperor has no clothes?
I think, unfortunately, Adam, what it says is that there are people up there with an agenda that is not about putting the country first. There are folks up there with an agenda to try to help themselves, perhaps, to become vice president of the United States if Donald Trump were the nominee, or to become a cabinet member for Donald Trump if he were to be reelected president again. Let me be clear. I got offered Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Homeland Security twice by Donald Trump, and I got offered White House Chief of Staff. And I turned them all down. Because I knew I couldn't work for someone like Donald Trump.
You're an idiot. And you had a free cabinet position.
What it says is that some people are putting their own personal interests ahead of the country's interests.
If that's true.
The other explanation for it is, for some folks,
Trump should debate.
They believe it's the political calculus that somehow Donald Trump will be defeated by the legal process, and that when he is, if they're the ones who have said nothing bad about Donald Trump, that they're more likely to inherit the Donald Trump voters. Well, I'll tell you something. If you want to know what a failure that strategy is, talk to me or Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio or John Kasich or Ted Cruz, who all tried those types of tactics in 2016.
What?
And what it led to was Donald Trump being overwhelmingly nominated for president of the United States.
Bro.
If we are unwilling to stand up and fight him from minute one of
Christie
this race,
endorsed him.
To say that this is not the kind of person that is acceptable to be president. This is not the type of person who any of us would want our children and grandchildren to emulate. If you're unwilling to say that, in my view, you have no business being on the stage. He's right off a note card, you can tell.
Well, thank you. And I think it's interesting that you talk about your experience in it, and you're open with it and talking about the fact that,
now it's
I think we all felt, even after he was elected in 2016, I just felt like I was still going to wake up from a dream, and see that. So
you guys are mad.
Just a quick reminder to everybody, you can continue to submit your questions. We're going to try to get to as many of those as we can in the Q&A. Governor, one of the initiatives that Country First had a ton of success with in 2022.
Are they just talking about Country First?
Disaffected Republicans, independents, Democrats even, to participate in GOP primaries to try to knock out the extreme anti.
Your candidates got kicked the shit out of.
Live in a
shit
Republican
kicked out
district.
of them. Excuse me.
Maybe you should actually show up, just vote in that primary, because that's where the strongest.
Name one you defeated.
We did have a lot of success with that. We even got some credit for defeating Madison Cawthorn in his primary. I'm curious what role you see for disaffected Republicans, for independents, for Democrats. Folks who may not think that the GOP primary is for them, but they're desperate to see somebody who tells.
I was talking about Cawthorn because of the freaking the video that got leaked from his cousin.
To make a difference, or is there something?
That's the first I thought of.
No, depending upon what your state you're in,
that's what took him out.
Those state, you don't have to.
People thought he was gay.
If you care deeply, especially because there's not going to be a Democratic primary of any import in this race. I think Joe Biden, absent something very odd happening, will be the runaway Democratic nominee for president.
Why is he taking
what I want to do is
that,
speak to the whole country. There's no way that we can unite this country once again the way it needs to be united, Adam, if we don't first and foremost talk to the entire country. So Places like New Hampshire, if you're a dispirited Republican, you obviously can vote in our primary and make a difference. If you're an independent, you decide you want to have that influence on who the Republican candidate will be. It's an open primary. You can show up on election day, in primary election day, and vote in the primary. Same thing in South Carolina and same thing in Nevada. So in 3 out of the first 4 races, people who really care about our country and want to try to unite our country and bring them together behind principles of truth and law and order and rule of law.
Gustavo G for 2. Who should Trump choose as the VP, the sea or the river? The sea.
Of every person who is concerned that having a president of the United States who stood behind the seal of the president in the East Room of the White House on election night 2020 and told the American people that the election had been stolen when he had no evidence that it had been stolen, and to this day has not presented any credible evidence that it was stolen, that's not the kind of person we want back in the Oval Office. And so we have to work hard to make sure that doesn't happen. And folks can do that by, as you mentioned, voting in the primary, even if they're disaffected. And also they can go to my website at chrischristie.com and donate to us so that we have the resources that are necessary to be able to wage the campaign in a way that it needs to be waged. Now, look, I do want to take this moment to say thank you to all the people of Country First, and there are thousands of them who donated.
Who freaking cares? I'm muting this guy for a little bit until the questions come in. Cawthorn is being sussy with another man. Yeah, that's what I meant. At the first that I thought of, it's like, he didn't lose because of you. He lost because of the gay allegations with his cousin. So
on this call tonight,
that's what actually
happened. Others who belong to this organization for standing up and being willing to support me. So I want to thank you all for having done that. My voice wouldn't be on the stage but for that, and that help. And I appreciate what you've done very much. And I hope that you're all willing to support us in a number of other ways as well.
That's what.
Well, thank you. So your message of courage and your show of courage, I think, has actually inspired a lot of people.
What?
I'm going to guess that you probably didn't expect to be doing this well this early in New Hampshire. Maybe you did, but I know you knew.
You just got all the anti-Trump vote. That's all you did. Congratulations. Good job.
You're beating Ron DeSantis, who, just a couple months ago, everybody thought was the heir apparent to Donald Trump. One of the things that I've been disappointed in this primary is it seems that most of the candidates
that's nothing to do with you.
Seeing who can defend Trump, or it's all about attacking.
Who had a gay relationship?
Nobody's really
Cawthorn allegedly did.
Vision for our country.
That's what I was talking about. That's what actually cost him the election.
One of the things Country First members like, they don't have to agree or disagree with your policies, but they want to know that you believe it and that you want to solve problems. Like somebody on the far left is, obviously a little different than me politically, but if they believe what they're saying, I have so much respect for that. You need those voices.
What?
You differentiated yourself in that respect too, and I think we'd like to hear how you believe we can make American politics more productive and instead of just being destructive.
Well, Adam, look, I had a lot of experience at this. You've been elected in a blue state as well, in Illinois.
I
defeated an incumbent Democratic governor.
R plus 15.
One of only 3 incumbent Democratic governors who have been defeated in the last 30 years when I ran in 2009. But what I still inherited was a solidly Democratic legislature in both houses. And so what I had to learn as governor, coming off my experience as a prosecutor, was how to work and make sure that I drive.
This is the year 2023. You people are still living in.
This is not a game of politics. It's not a game where we sit back and forth and see how we can play with each other. But that we know that we have an obligation to the people who elected us to work with each other to try to get to solutions. And so, from my perspective, my experience in 8 years as governor led to things like $120 billion in savings on our public pension plan that otherwise would never have happened.
Okay, but that was
eliminated
12 years ago or whatever.
683 individual programs in our budget in my first year as governor when we had an $11 billion deficit on a $29 billion budget. And so we did the things that we needed to do.
He did the
by the way, all of those things were passed with Democratic support because they couldn't have been passed otherwise. I want to try to bring the same sensibility to Washington, D.C., to know that what it takes is to show strong leadership, to come forward with your ideas, and then to work to get to know the folks in Congress and work hard to try to persuade them, both one-on-one and through the use of the bully pulpit. And so I care about us doing the big issues again.
The same ones as 12 years ago.
You mentioned entitlements. We have to deal with it because in 11 short years, Social Security will be bankrupt, and it'll be a 24%
do not get me started
in
this
benefits.
Rant again. You don't want
me to. 10 years,
to.
Medicare will be bankrupt. These are very short windows. And I thought the most disgraceful part of Joe Biden's State of the Union address, which Donald Trump agreed with. So Joe Biden stood up and said, can we all agree we'll do nothing to Social Security? And both houses of Congress, both sides, got up and cheered.
Talk about electability. That is,
and I thought, what
the definition of not electable.
Because they know this is what we're destined for, and that something needs to be done. And we can help to fix this, as you know, Adam, by changing eligibility, not for people in their 50s or 60s or 70s, but to change it for people in their 20s and 30s and 40s when they have plenty of time to plan for their retirement. That's something we should look at. We should look at means testing.
But orange
Do Mark Zuckerberg and Warren
fine.
Buffett and Elon
means
Musk
testing is fine.
really need to be collecting Social Security?
Fine,
Can we start there and have the conversation?
That's reasonable.
And see how we can work our way down to make sure that folks who are getting Social Security are the folks who really, really need it to be able to help themselves survive and thrive during retirement. We talked to folks about issues like education, where a third of the children in our country don't read at grade level. Yet we spend $800 billion a year.
He's cooking a little bit
on education across this country.
Bro, he's actually
25% of our kids don't do math at grade level. Not only are they not going to be able to compete with the rest of the world.
That's actually stuff to focus on.
They're not going to be able to compete to get a great job here in America. That will affect our economy, but more important than that, it will kill their hope for their future. No one is talking about those issues. I took on the teachers union in New Jersey starting in 2009, head on head, and said, I'm for any teacher
did it
who
and got
puts
recalled
their
and he still won.
Their child in the classroom first, ahead of their own personal interests. But the union always wants to protect the worst of their teachers rather than aspire for the best achievement.
Please, LaHood, a congressman for
we need to be having those conversations and a lot more, Adam. So I'll cut the answer short there, or maybe not so short. But then we'll go on to other issues as well. But those are the kind of things, big things, that I want our country to be doing again to set us up to be the dominant country in our next 250 years of existence, like we have been for much of our first 250 years.
Great. Can you guys hear me now, by the way? Is that a...
Bro.
Anybody? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I switched settings, so I couldn't tell if it works. Let me know. Let me know if something goes wrong.
Big. Yeah, I heard that.
So for those who may just be joining the tonight's conversation, we're reflecting on the importance of truth and principles in politics. And we're joined tonight by presidential candidate, former Governor Christie, who's, I know, getting excited for this debate, and we're all excited to watch. So we do have some questions from the audience. So let's take our first one. It's looks like Ben in Nevada. It says, the question is for both Adam and the governor. Half of the time I struggle to find hope that our country is going to get through this chapter, but conversations like this remind me that there is hope out there and leaders who want to do something other than tear us apart. What's driving you when you get up every morning to continue doing and saying what you do? So go ahead, Governor. I'll let you take that first.
First off is I love my country. I mean, look, Ben, I have a dad who served in the Army during the Korean War, came home. His father had passed away. He's a young man. Family had no money. Went to work at the Breyers ice cream plant in Newark, New Jersey. A mom who never went to college, worked as a receptionist in an office. And the fact that their son is getting the opportunity to run for president of the United States is part of what the amazing, amazing opportunity this country gives to every one of its citizens who cares enough to try.
America.
And so first off, what drives me is the fact that I love this country. Second, I've already had a great American life. In 2 weeks, I'm going to turn 61 years old.
Congratulations.
And I've had a great life, and one that only this country could have helped me to provide for my wife and our children. But I want our children, and hopefully, God willing, someday our grandchildren, to have the opportunity at the same kind of American life, if not even a better one than the one that I've had. And I think we have to fight for that.
This is not
Ronald
cringe,
Reagan was
just
right when he
like,
said,
okay, get to the point.
The extinction of democracy is just one generation away. And so all of us have to fight to do it. Lastly, as Adam said, you know, I'm someone who was taught by my mom a very simple principle. And we lost her now 20 years ago. But my mom told me, Christopher, be yourself, because then tomorrow you don't have to try to remember who you pretended to be yesterday. The truth has always been something that has been emphasized in my nuclear family, by my mom in particular. And it's being emphasized by me and my wife to our 4 children now.
Yeah, I guarantee.
And how can I continue to emphasize how important that is to them if I knowingly sat by and did nothing, as someone like Donald Trump tried to, for a third time, get our party's nomination for president? So those are the things that get me out of bed in the morning. I'm sure a lot of those are similar for you too, Adam.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to say that it's like we're speaking from the same heart on that. And you know, it's interesting. When I ran for Congress in 2010, I'd just gotten back from Iraq.
Bro, wait a minute. He has a microphone. Why does it sound like
you know? If we're asking young people to fight and die for our country,
did I just hear a rapper?
We have to be willing to give up our political careers for the same cause. You know, like I thought, honestly, I laugh about it because I'm like, I thought I may have to lose my job over like a vote on Social Security reform or something. Like maybe that would be the thing, not necessarily the defense of democracy, but I have no regrets. I have zero regrets. I know you have no regrets about defending democracy. Because I know that there's not a single person out there that's going to be on that debate stage with you that's afraid to go after President Trump. That is not in 10 years going to look back and be ashamed of that performance of the debate.
Hey, Rap, I just got here. What has happened?
No way any of those.
He's eating food.
People
I
will
heard
look back
it.
And be proud that they didn't have the courage to take on this direct attack on democracy. So, Ben, thank you for that question. We've got another one. It's from one of the leaders participating in the Country First Academy.
Bro, it's just Country First.
That's our political incubator, political leadership incubator, Governor, where you know people want to get involved. They don't necessarily know how to start. This is how you start. We're identifying and training good pro-democracy candidates, especially at the local level. Says you and I, we both started our service on the local level. What advice would you give to the next wave of leaders who are walking into very toxic, divisive politics, and how can they be part of the solution? I'll add just a second to that, which is when you and I were younger, politics was done in I'll call it a gentleman, gentle lady way, that it hasn't been done like in a long time.
60 years ago or whatever.
How do we expect people under the age of 20 or 30 that've never seen that to kind of restore that? So what advice would you give somebody walking into that divisive politics, and how can they be part of a solution?
Democracy.
First is show up. You know, so much of any adventure in life is about showing up, being present. And what that means is listening. So much of leadership, effective leadership, is listening.
Yeah, pro-democracy.
Listening to other people, listening to their concerns, listening to their arguments. Either so you can agree with them or so you can try to debunk them.
Debunk.
And I've been involved in doing both. I think secondly, it is truthfulness. That in the end, you have to be who you are. And one of the things that I did think even in this time remains a constant in American politics.
Okay, wholesome DJ Aftershock for 2. Christie winning DePage in Lake County by Nixon margins. Real.
He's just an authentic liar. But he is authentic. What we need, if you want to get involved in politics, is to be yourself, be authentic.
Trump is.
Show up, tell the truth, and work hard. And I will tell you that the cream always rises to the top, in my view. And especially when you begin at the local level, people are always looking for bright young people who want to dedicate some part of their life to public service. And so I was really lucky. I started off as a county commissioner when I was 31 years old.
Oh, good
and,
for you.
You know, that progressed ultimately me becoming the U.S. attorney under George W. Bush at 39 years old.
That's not good.
And then led to me becoming governor at 47 years old. And all those things were things that I was able to accomplish through the help and support of lots of other great people, but also because I knew who I was.
Truth over facts.
I said what I believed. I did what I said, and I kept my promises. I think those should be the hallmarks that should be a part of any young person's efforts when you're first starting to get involved in public life. But first and foremost, show up and be present. If you do those things, you'll get noticed.
Well, thank you. This next one, I'll be honest, kind of hits home for me a little bit, so I'll chime in at the end. They say, Governor Christie, you enabled and defended Donald Trump throughout his presidency. I'm having trouble getting over
another country first person.
Getting over that, basically. Getting over that. How is this not too little, too late?
Well, first off, as long as there's another election, it's never too late. But let me be very honest with you. You know, I ran against Donald Trump in 2016. He was not my first choice for president.
You endorsed him.
I did the best I could to try to defeat him in 2016.
You endorsed him right after New Hampshire.
And by the way, unlike Donald Trump, when I lost, I conceded the election and I moved on. But in our country, we don't always get to vote for who we want to vote for. We get to vote for who's left. And it was between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I so opposed Hillary Clinton's both attitude towards people and governance and her policies that I decided to support Donald Trump. And,
the Trump
I thought, given the fact that I'd known him at that time for about 15 years, that I could help make him a better candidate. And if he won, a better president. Turned out I was wrong. And I'm willing to admit that I was wrong. And, if you're looking for the perfect candidate, you're not going to find him on this call tonight. I am not the perfect candidate. But what I am is willing to continue to think and listen.
My God.
And when I'm wrong, to admit it. When was the last time you heard somebody in politics, in today's American politics, actually admit they were wrong, even though we know there are people who are wrong every day because we're not perfect. And so I make no apologies for my support of Donald Trump against Hillary Clinton. But when he undercut our democracy on election night 2020, I made it very clear on ABC that evening, and I urge you to go back and look at YouTube that night for the ABC coverage and look at what I said. And I made it very clear that I could not support someone who did that to our democracy.
Democracy.
So that's the explanation. It may satisfy you, it may not, but I can tell you it's the truth. It's why I made the decisions I made.
Over fact.
It turned out to be wrong, but I'm not ill-intentioned, just wrong.
Well, thank you for that. And that's what I say, because I get asked the question sometimes too, is like, if we want to be at a moment right now where nobody is allowed to walk away from Donald Trump and fight for democracy, okay, but democracy will fail. Because I've got to tell you, in this moment, we have to have an uncomfortable alliance between Democrats, Republicans, independents, everything in between, people who never supported Trump, people who used to support Trump, people who never even paid attention to Donald Trump. We need that uncomfortable alliance to make sure we can keep arguing about these policies we're talking about, because we can argue if we have a democracy that's functioning. If we don't, we're going to be in a really bad place. So I get that people ask that question, but this is a moment where we have to stand up and say, things have changed. They particularly changed after January 6th and after the last election when he directly started undercutting democracy in an even bigger way. It's unbelievable. And we have to have this uncomfortable alliance, or else, trust me, I really do believe this can fail if we don't. So I think the next question fits in, I think, pretty well with the last one. So as I mentioned, thousands of our members were able to pitch in to help you qualify.
Oh yeah, your members.
Stage. It's fair to say that a lot of those donors may not be Republican. They may even want a Democrat to be the next president, but they understand how important it is for there to be at least two healthy, honest, sane American parties. They value the role you're playing, and that for anyone who hasn't chipped in yet to help you get qualified for the second and third debates, you mentioned you're already almost there, even for the third debate. What case would you make for them to consider, even if they may not want to ultimately vote for you in the White House?
Look, if you think the truth matters, the truth needs to have a truth teller to be out on the stage and bringing it. And we now know that Donald Trump's probably not going to show up at the first 2 debates.
Good.
If he shows up at the third one, which I suspect he might, because he's going to get pretty damaged in these first 2 by not being there.
No, he is.
In my opinion.
What?
You're going to want me to be there to continue to bring it. And as I said to Adam, we're very, 50. Very close to getting over 60,000 donors now. And that would be the next threshold for the third debate. So what I would say to folks is, first off, you're going to want my voice to be on that stage to take him on directly, given everything we've talked about tonight and the video that you saw of other candidates in this race being unwilling, forget about to hold him criminally responsible, to even hold him morally responsible for what happened on January 6th, morally responsible for the undercutting of our democracy. I mean, to me, that's unthinkable. But that's exactly what will happen. It will be a job fair on the stage in the debate rather than to be a place where the truth is told, honest differences are aired out, and the public can make an informed decision. And by the way, I hope to earn your vote by the time we get to the general election. If you don't vote in our primary, but you're going to vote in our general election, you can be sure that if I'm the nominee, I'm going to be making the case right to you. Because remember, in New Jersey, we have 1 million more registered Democrats than we do Republicans.
I'm not sane right now.
And so for me to get reelected in 2013 with 61% of the vote, I had to appeal to over 70% of independents who voted for me.
Yeah.
Over 26% of Democrats
10 years ago.
who voted for me. 29% of African Americans who voted for me. 1 year after Mitt Romney got 8% of African Americans in our state. And I got 51% of the Hispanic vote. Because you were popular back then. 1 year after Mitt Romney got 21% of the Hispanic vote in our state. And so, you know, I have proven over the course of my career that I will go out and pursue every vote, even in places that typically make Republicans uncomfortable to campaign in. Because I know who I am, and I'm happy to make my argument to anybody. So I hope, one, you continue to help me to be on stage so I can continue to make this case, and two, that you'd be open-minded to listening to the real arguments and not be wed to voting for one party or the other. But let's try this. How about if we put the person with the best character in as the next president? If that's the way we made our judgment, then I think we would be better off as a country.
Whoops.
Well, Governor, thank you. And I wish we had much more time because I would love, as you know, I'm passionate about foreign policy and America's role in the world. And I think you have made a very powerful case, distinguishing yourself from some of these other, only thing I can say is clowns or not serious people on foreign policy, sympathetic to Vladimir Putin.
That's bullshit!
Talking about, in essence, letting Taiwan go. Vivek, who comes up with some new harebrained scheme every day to get attention. I know that's going to come up and you're going to be solid on that. And I wish we had a lot more time to talk about that. No matter what happens, and as you know, I'm a fan of you. You are a gift to our democracy, I think, by being out there right now, by speaking about this, by doing what so many people are afraid to do.
Here comes.
You know, God puts all of us in different positions at different moments. I just couldn't imagine having been put in the position I was, or you being put in the position you are, and not just telling the truth with it, and knowing that you have millions of people there to listen. So I would encourage anyone that hasn't chipped in to help you get on the debate stage or to support your candidacy overall, go to chrischristie.com and do that. I would certainly encourage you all to do that. With that, Governor, thank you for your time. I'll turn it over to you to feel free with any closing thoughts you might have.
That's it.
You want to share.
Well, first off, Adam, I want to thank you for the invitation. And to everyone who's watching tonight, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your Monday evening here in August to listen to what I've had to say.
I must have misheard that.
I also want to thank Adam for his service to this country. Not only his service when he wore the country's uniform, but also when he served in Congress and did the very difficult things that needed to be done.
Like
to
what?
Speak out not only on the issues that we had, regarding January 6th, but he's also been an honest, conservative voice for a lot of issues that we care about as a country. And so I want to thank you, Adam, for your service and your willingness to continue to serve by leading country first in the way that you are. Look, I ran for president to do the big things.
This can't be the end.
Is we're getting smaller.
There's
and
no
smaller,
way.
Getting divided into smaller and smaller groups.
No.
That we're pitting against each other to argue about things that maybe aren't unimportant, but certainly don't rise to the level of a great country. And each and every time in our history, when we have been at a crossroads like we are now, we have been fortunate to have a great leader as president who led us to do the big things. So whether it started with George Washington, who along with John Adams and Alexander Hamilton and Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson said, no, we're not going to be willing to stay as a colony of Great Britain, but we're going to stand up and we're going to fight to be a country of our own, because it's the only way we can guarantee succeeding generations an opportunity at liberty and freedom. Think about if they'd done the other. In 1860, when Abraham Lincoln could have stood up and said, I'll let the South go. We'll be two countries. Instead, he said, a house divided against itself cannot stand.
The history lessons
here. And he inspired the American people to the sacrifice that was necessary to preserve the Union. And he came out of that bigger, stronger, richer, and freer than we were before. In 1941, Franklin Roosevelt could have said, this is a European problem, as many are saying today about Ukraine.
It is.
He could have said, this is not
There's
our problem.
There's no comparison.
But instead, he said we should be the arsenal of democracy. And we should stand up
two different situations
against the infamy that was being absolutely perpetrated against our country by both the Japanese and by the German and Italian armies. And so he inspired our country to great sacrifice again. And we lost hundreds of thousands of lives. And
completely different circumstances.
But at the end, America was one of two superpowers in the world. And we came out of it richer and stronger and freer than we were before.
What?
And then in 1981, when there were some people who wanted us to just tolerate the Soviet Union, to put up with its existence, no matter how repulsive it was to us, we elected a president, in fact, a conservative Republican from a blue state in Ronald Reagan.
California was red back then.
We are going to consign the Soviet Union to the ash heap of history where they belong. And he inspired us to make great sacrifices, to put our country on a competition that we could win with the Soviet Union. 8 years later, the Berlin Wall fell. And 10 years later, the Soviet Union was gone, no longer part of the world. Reagan, through his efforts and his inspirational leadership, led us to be braver, freer, stronger, richer. And at that time, the last remaining superpower. Today, our adversary is China. And the next 50 years is going to be a contest between the United States and China as to who will lead the world. Will be a democracy, or will be the Communist Party of China? That fight's already going on in Ukraine, everybody.
What?
And we should support the Ukrainians to the fullest extent we can to make sure they send a message to Russia, who's being funded in this war by the Chinese,
that has nothing
that we will not tolerate that type of autocratic, awful conduct anywhere in the world. And so, same way Reagan led us, FDR led us, Lincoln led us,
this is awful,
and Washington led us. We need a president who will stand up and do the same thing. That election in 1980 was between an ineffective, ineffectual president and Jimmy Carter.
It just keeps going.
Who Joe Biden called his favorite president, against a conservative governor from a blue state.
He wasn't.
Ronald Reagan won that fight overwhelmingly against Joe Biden.
Reagan was from California when it was Republican.
And if you give me the chance, I will win that race as well. And I will work hard every day to not divide our country, but in fact, quite the opposite, to bring it back together so that we can feel proud to be Americans again and that we can feel as if our democracy is being defended. So thanks for the time, Adam. I really appreciate it.
I
look forward to Wednesday night.
I'll get to the super chats in a second.
Starting in Milwaukee, and for the debates to come.
Don't go to my state. Stay away.
Well, thank you, Governor. It was great to be with you. Great to have you. good luck on this debate. I know all of us are going to be watching, and we just appreciate you telling the truth. That's what matters in this world, matters in this country. And frankly, that's the kind of leadership this country needs. So for all of you, thank you. Governor, thank you. I'll turn it now over to Kayla, who's got some more to go with. So thank you all.
What's up now? Nope, we're done. We're done. What the hell is this? Nope, we're done. I can't take it anymore. Nope, they're done. They're off the screen. There, it's over. What? What did I just witness? You're telling me they hyped that up so much that lasted like 30 minutes. Okay, time to read some super chats. Real Texan politics for 5. If you don't support invading Russia and nuking Moscow, you're pro-Putin. Adam Kinzinger. That's pretty much what he says. Ben Cynics for 2. Play Campaign Trail. Need a detox for this crap. I'm not playing Campaign Trail tonight. Wholesome DJ Aftershock for 2. Reagan wasn't a free trade cult as people think he was. That is actually true. Go look it up. Go look up Reagan on free trade. Alright. We're not leaving just yet. Listen. Everyone. I don't know what to say. You combined Christie with frickin' Adam Kiss. Oh gosh. And it only lasted like 30 minutes. When you don't count the intro, you don't count the concluding statement, that was like 20 minutes. That was the worst. I don't care what the cringe counter says. We didn't have enough time. That was the worst town hall we have reacted to so far. Worse than Pence's. I don't know. Now, let me be 100% clear. Because people are, I think, misinformed by 2 things. One. Or actually, it's just one thing. Related to Russia. Here's my opinion on it. I don't think we have to be involved. I think it's our job to be the brokers of peace. That means work with both Ukraine and Russia on a peace settlement that can end this violence, end the killing. Doesn't mean I'm pro-Russia. I'm a fan of neither. Both are very corrupt countries that, honestly, it's our best interest to work with both parties. Work on presuming peace. Stop the killing. These assholes, they want to send your kids to die for some foreign entity half you can't even put on a map. I think Christie is going to put everyone to sleep at the debate at this rate. Rob is going to die listening to Christie talk with the Middle Ages. Oh, he's gonna... Yeah, that was just, I'm stunned. Yeah, we just want everybody to stop dying. That's all. That's what everybody with a brain cares about. It doesn't matter what side you want to win. At this point in time, stop the killing. Do you know Ahsoka's coming out tomorrow night? It's coming out tomorrow night? I thought it's coming out like midnight or whatever. Wow, really? Huh. That's new. These people say they want unity, but they don't want unity for Ukraine and Russia. Yeah. Our job isn't to promote war. It's to promote peace. We're a superpower. We're supposed to be smart here, not just, oh, we're going to bomb every country that we disagree with. But to fight the war over the, wait, what? Fight the war over there before it comes here. But democracy, but global police. Yeah. Again, it sucks that people are dying. I don't want people to die. I want this to end, this war. But you can't just say, we gotta bomb Russia. how does it accomplish anything? At this point in time, it makes the most sense to hold the summit. I don't care if this gets Biden some political points. End the killing. How the great French Lafayette inspired America to fight for democracy or something like that. Hey, Rap, I'm making the 1892 election now. A three-way race between a Dem, a populist, and a Republican. That's very interesting. I may play that. But gentlemen, where do we go from here? Actually, I know. Wednesday is the GOP debate. That's gonna be fun. Oh, jeez. That's gonna suck without Trump, though. Biden will never let it end because the Russians would get his shell companies. I don't know. Alright, if anybody got any more super chats, any more questions, send them now or forever go in peace. I'm still mad that lasted like 12 minutes or whatever. Imagine hyping up an event with a presidential candidate and leave after like 5 minutes or whatever. Absolutely useless. Absolutely pathetic. Very sad. Very sad. We have any other people on for the GOP debate stream? I'll try to. I want Trump to debate at least once for 2016. Yeah, I agree. I think Genghis Khan would support Chris because he's democracy's greatest defender, and he made Mongolia big. I mean, at this point, would you be shocked? First, it was the Civil War. Now we're back to the American Revolution. What do you think of Pence saying we need regime change in Russia? That's awful. No. Is Christie buying McDonald's? Christie and Rob debate. I'm going to tune in for the entertainment because it's going to be a shit show without Trump. Alright, gentlemen. So if you guys did enjoy the stream, smash the like button down below. Subscribe. Share with your friends. Hit that little bell. Follow the social media accounts in the description down below. And of course, join the channel today. Guys, I'm very sorry this lasted like an hour. I thought this was going to be a big stream. But it was like 10 seconds or whatever. Thank you so much.